Hey everybody, Jimmy from Superpath here. Before we dive into this video, just wanted to give a quick shout out to the team over at Topic. Um, they're going to show us the tool, they're going to show us how they use it, they're going to offer some of their own expertise on SEO and content optimization along the way. Um, they're an official Superpath partner now. That means that they're helping us keep this community free for all of us to come and learn and grow and connect and find new roles, hire folks, et cetera, et cetera. The Superpath community doesn't exist without partners like Topic. So just want to give those guys a quick shout out. If you do want to give Topic a try for yourself, you can go to usetopic.com/superpath and you'll get 30% off. While you're there, I'd also recommend checking out their free tools. They have 5 or 6 free tools, which are incredibly helpful, including a personal favorite, which is a table of contents generator. It'll just spit out the HTML so you can just plug it in your site and it'll just work. If you've ever tried to write that HTML on your own and you're not technical like me, it's difficult and you'll probably get all confused and need to find help from someone more technical. So just go use their free tools. They have a couple over there, really helpful. I'll get out of the way now. Usetopic.com/superpath if you want to check it out. Thanks so much to Rio and Nick, and enjoy this video. Thanks. Okay, cool. Hey everybody, Jimmy from Superpath here with the co-founders of Topic, Ryo and Nick. Guys, how are you doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Excited to talk about Topic, which is a content optimization tool. Am I underselling it by saying that?
We usually go like content research and optimization, but that works too.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. No, that's good. That's good. Um, so we're gonna get a look at the product. We're gonna talk about some of the use cases for it. But maybe first, just to kind of like zoom out, could you guys introduce yourselves and then just kind of tell us a little bit about how we got here? Why did you start Topic? Kind of a little bit of the story behind the product.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
good.
our story, Nick, do you want to go?
It's always confusing when we have two people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sounds good. I can go first. I'm Nikhil. I'm co-founder of Topic. Ray and I have been working together for 8 years now. I think 9 years almost. But the first company that we started, we launched our company called Tint Up, and we launched it to TechCrunch and all these publications, and the traffic fizzled out after a certain point. There was no growth. So we kind of picked up SEO skills on the fly and started implementing those tactics and techniques. So we're engineers. We started blogging to push our growth up, and that's how we saw, the growth come in for the previous company. And after in 2018, we had the opportunity to sell it, and then we were looking for new ideas to work on, and we were doing some consulting projects. And one thing that we realized that a lot of content teams have, they have a ton of content, but not every content is fully utilized to its potential. So we decided to kind of take some of our knowledge that we've gathered from our previous company and sort of turn that into a product, which is what Topic is. So Topic is a quick one-line intro. It's a SEO content optimization tool that streamlines your workflow from creating content briefs for your writers to optimizing content before you publish, so that you can sort of get more ROI from the content that you're putting out.
Cool. I love it. Very cool. Who are your customers? Like who are the main folks that are using Topic?
It's mostly agencies because they work with a lot of writers and there's a lot of context switch that they have to pass on. So a lot of agencies use the content briefs part of the product so that they can get a better first drafts. And we also have a lot of content teams sort of using Topic to kind of streamline their workflow and bring like this level up all their content writers using a grader, so which basically gives you a content score before you publish. So a lot of content teams utilize that part of the product. And then we have small entrepreneurs that were just getting started with content, sort of jump in and sort of play around with our product.
Very cool. Very cool. You guys also have a number of free tools. Could you talk about that a little bit? Like what some of those tools do? And maybe just quickly, like just some of the kind of like thought behind the like engineering as marketing.
Yeah. So Nick and I, like you mentioned, we're both engineers. We're really good at building. So we figured for our marketing strategy, let's focus on our strengths and build out tools that we feel like would be useful for the uh, potential customers that we want to attract. So we've built out things like people also ask tool to extract those questions that people are asking in Google out and collect them all together. We built a table of contents tool that makes it really easy to generate a quick table of contents widget you can embed onto your blog, along with other free tools that are useful that act as ways to get our brand out there in the community.
It's cool. I love it. I
Yeah.
feel like we need more of that in the content space. Like we all want to grow with content, which is good. It works, but like adding that functionality in is super useful. And I feel like it's something we don't really see enough of. So kudos to you guys for doing that.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah. So we have a couple topics that we're going to talk through today. We're going to talk about building content briefs. We're going to talk about identifying content opportunities in Search Console. And then we're also going to talk about how to improve rankings with content optimization. So if it's cool with you guys, I will hand the reins over to you and we can dive in. And so first, Rio's going to walk us through creating content briefs in topic. Nick mentioned you guys work with a lot of agencies. I'm assuming this is a very popular feature among your agency customers because briefs are kind of like the point at which customers and clients have this opportunity to agree or disagree and then set the expectations for what an article should be. Obviously that happens in-house too, but I find, at least in my own experience, it's more important on the agency side so you don't get way off track and have unhappy customers later. Anyways, Rio, would love to see what it actually looks like, how it works, what you guys have built.
Yeah, definitely. Happy to jump into our brief software. And I think one great place to start is taking a look at the typical content production workflow. So this is the one slide that I have that describes it. But most people, they'll start with keyword research, identifying what people are searching for in Google, looking at competitors. They'll use tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush, which we usually recommend. But then after that step, what these tools don't do is tell you how to actually organize and structure your content so it has the best chance of ranking. And that's where Topic comes in, is we will help streamline and automate that part of the process. So you have a tailor-made tool just for building briefs. And then in addition to that, we have a content grader that's part of that process. But in this video, we'll be focusing in on this step that happens before the writing, which is coming up with the briefs. One thing about brief writing is that most people have gone through this process, but a lot of people might have skipped out on actually spending a lot of time in this step. That's mainly because this step is typically pretty time consuming and tedious. And if you're doing a lot of content, then it's easy to overlook because you just don't have time to do the research that you need to do. And our core belief is that the more research that you do up front, the better overall the output's going to be, no matter what. All great content starts on a platform of solid research. So
yeah, I love that. Not much content gets better over time if it doesn't start in a good place. You know what I mean? Like the more work you invest up front, the better the end product is going to be, and actually the less work it is as you go on in the process.
It's so painful to have to edit and revise in this step when you started out with something that maybe wasn't great to start with.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, in our system, when you want to start creating a brief, you start out by going into here and going to create brief, giving our system a keyword, optionally a location. So this could be a state or a city or a country, but that'll change where we pull the Google results from, because essentially what we're doing is taking a look at the top 30 results in Google and then analyzing the content that's showing up so that we can make suggestions.
Got it.
Yeah. I'll use this best time of year to visit Hawaii article as an example. But once the brief is finished, you'll be able to see our research here on the left side, and then we will be compiling that into a document that could be handed off to a writer on the right side. So this is sort of like a notepad staging area where you can curate that information.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it's different than a lot of other tools because it balances the editorial control with the automation. Some tools out there will basically do all of this for you, but there's very little that you can do to customize. Other tools sort of have you type it all in there. Ours is sort of a hybrid approach where it's somewhere in the middle. But the first task is coming up with a good title and description. People don't spend enough on titles, don't spend enough resources on titles and descriptions typically, even though they have an outsized effect on SEO because it's the first thing people see. So what's important here is to take a look at the top ranking articles, get an understanding of what people are trying to do when they're searching for this term. Take a look at competitors who are doing weirdly well. Like this number 8 position, they're a domain authority 13, but they're still on the first page. So
that's
we
interesting.
flagged it.
Meaning like that's probably a very good article.
Yeah, or at least it's getting people to click and it's getting people to engage with it.
Right. Okay.
And so, just taking a look at this list, you can see why. The worst time to visit Hawaii this month, the month you don't want to go. It's like everybody's like probably looking at this and like, oh, did I pick the worst time? I'm gonna click on that article. Versus all of these, it's like pretty similar. So, like I said, the title can make a big difference, and the angle. And I'm sure this article covers a lot of the similar things, but takes a totally different angle on how they do it. But one thing that we can do in our system is start it off with a title like best time to visit Hawaii. We have a couple brainstorming tools to help in identifying titles that could be useful or competitive. And so we can start out with the title, have our system rewrite the title and come up with alternatives that could be good. So what our system actually does is attempt to distill the persona that is searching for this term and the intent that they have, and then coming up with different differentiators that you could use to come up with a better title. And so sometimes this can take a little bit of time, so I just have it up in another tab here. But basically, what it'll give you are a couple of different things that people are looking for when they're searching for this content, like weather or activities or cost. So it's like the best time to visit Hawaii if you're on a budget could be an interesting angle to take. If all of these generic results, if you're looking to differentiate from these generic results.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And that's generated by AI. Like is there any risk of plagiarism in there? You know what I mean? Like
yeah, so that's a great question. So there's no risk of plagiarism because how the backend system is working is that it's generating these titles line by line. And so it's not taking it from any given source.
Got it. That's cool.
So my apologies. I think as with any tech demo, sometimes there are little hiccups.
Yeah, no worries.
The system can also take titles and generate descriptions. So
this would be the meta description.
Yeah, this would be the meta description.
Okay.
So here are a couple description alternatives. And then it can even start you out with an outline. So this will take the title and description and give you different headings that you could potentially use. So in this outline, they break it down by island. But if you want to take an alternative approach, you can hit refresh and it'll give you, different ways that you could cover. So like hotels versus places to eat, that kind of thing. So the next step is diving into the competitive research. And this is where you can take a look at the top ranking articles and how they're breaking this subject down. And so our angle is about budget, how to save money by visiting Hawaii at the right time. But a lot of these things are going to be relevant for that angle still. So things like picking affordable airfare and affordable hotels, choosing the right time of month. We can do this research and organize this information on the right side, and start to basically put together an outline that makes sense for what we're going for. But yeah, this is really important because like I said, Google's already done the hard work of bubbling up the best content, and
Mm-hmm.
um, these show you basically what are the key points that need to be covered. Um,
That's pretty cool. I like that you can sort of see the brief like beginning to come together in that right column. That's feel like the feels like momentum happening.
yeah, yeah. There's progress being made, and as you go through, this will get more and more in depth. In addition to the headings, we can also see questions that people are asking about traveling to Hawaii at different times, and so you can look through these to see uh, if there are any that are relevant to your article. Add them here in the same way, and then the last step is taking a look at the different subtopics that are being mentioned in all the other articles. Um, Here, what we can do is cluster them into semantically similar groups. And this is useful because it helps you see the higher level themes that are being covered. So, for example, we're seeing like the holiday season as being a topic that shows up in this Christmas New Year group. Um, and then down here, you'll see different, animal wildlife watching type keywords that are showing up. And so this can sort of give you some of the higher level themes. Like maybe we want to talk about how to go on animal watching tours on a budget. When's the best time for that? Because you've got to figure out when the animals are there, and you've got to figure out when the tourists aren't. So you can save money. So
Yeah, I
that's
like that.
those are sort of ways that you can enhance the content at this
It,
step.
yeah, it's cool how you can start to see how like very specific and granular you can get. Whereas like the initial topic feels pretty broad. It's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot going on there. Anyways, but as you get into this, it's starting to feel like, okay, yeah, I can really see how like there's a lot of factors that would go into the best time to visit Hawaii.
Yeah, and a lot of different a lot of different factors, a lot of different personas that are looking at this, different things that they're interested in. Um, so, in addition to the topics, another um, thing that is useful at the brief stage is looking at external links and also backing up any claims that you're making with statistics. And so those are the last two modules that we have in the research section where you can take a look at the most commonly cited external links. So it looks like there's a lot of festivals, specific festivals that people are linking out to. So those could be useful to mention.
Well, that's cool.
And then uh, we can also here type in any keyword to get statistics around it so that if you wanted to say, look up how many people actually travel to Hawaii in any given month, we can look up Hawaii travel statistics and sort of scroll through what's showing up, and we can see some of the things in here, like you know there are around 400,000 domestic arrivals to Hawaii. So if that's an interesting statistics to back up that March isn't a good time to travel, you can add that to the outline and then move that to where you want to mention that statistic.
That's awesome. And then in the outline on the right, those links, those are indicating that those are like citations of like where that stat came from or where that topic came from.
Exactly. So
Okay.
each of these do link out specifically to the citation. For the statistics, it looks like this link is broken. But typically for the statistics, if you click into them, this will actually take you directly um, to the statistic, and in certain browsers, it will highlight the statistic as you
Oh,
go to
cool.
it. But yeah, but once you've got this brief built out, then the final step is just taking this out of here and then in a separate document, pasting it in so that this can be what is handed to the writer. So you can see, in the length of this call, we've put together a pretty detailed outline on this topic.
That's really cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. So from this point, the writer takes it, does their thing, write a great article, and then at that point,
Mm-hmm.
you would bring it back into topic, right, and run it through the content
Yep.
grader. Would that be the next recommended step?
Yeah. So that would be the next step after the writing is grading it within our content grader, and basically here, um, I think in later on in this series, we'll talk about how we can take an existing piece of content or a draft and then use the grader to identify topical gaps. But that's what you'd be doing.
I love it. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. So agency folks, in-house folks, maybe even some freelance folks. Like if you're a full-time freelancer, like this is the type of tool that can help you differentiate your own work, right? Like if your customers are getting good results based on your writing, it's worth the investment to have a tool like this at hand. I think we so often think of briefs as something that like an editor creates and hands off to a writer, but actually like writers in many cases should be creating briefs, maybe even just for themselves if they're working independently.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it helps, especially if you're writing about a topic you're not an expert in.
Yeah.
This will pretty much bring you up to speed with the jargon and the stats and everything that you need to know about that specific topic, so you can talk about it in a way where your client is like, oh, this guy actually knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
So
totally. Actually, I would maybe even add to that if you are an expert in it, sometimes it's good to just like gut check this kind of thing. Like, just as an example, like if you're an expert in something, you may have forgotten what it's like to be a beginner. You may focus on things that are different than what a beginner reader might be focusing on. So, probably good
yeah,
just as like kind of an insurance policy to run the brief creation process through a tool like Topic, and then just make sure you're covering all of your bases.
yeah, definitely. It's funny that you bring that up. One of our customers is curated.com, and their business is all about shopping for gear with experts. They like create
Oh,
articles
cool.
with Olympic gold medalists in different sports, and like with different sports celebrities. But they make the celebrities use our software mainly because like total newbies to the sport have different questions that they want answered than what the sports experts might be thinking about.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
yeah,
My wife tried to teach me how to ski a couple of years ago, and it didn't work because she didn't know. She didn't remember what it was like to like be
yeah.
at the top of the
The
hill
yeah
and look
to
down
not
and be
know the
scared.
concepts. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Cool, very cool. Really appreciate it. Like I'm just so impressed with what you guys have built, and it's clear that there's like a lot of thoughtfulness behind the product too, which I appreciate. I think our community will appreciate too. Um, cool. Next up, we're going to chat with Nick about Search Console, using that to identify content opportunities. So we'll dive into that next year. Okay, there you go. Thanks again to the team over at Topic for partnering up with Superpath. Just a reminder, if you do want to go and check out Topic, try it out yourself, you can get 30% off. Just go to usetopic.com/superpath. Thanks so much, everybody, and take care.